We're going to do this on my home computer because last night's recording did not work. Um, we had a little technical difficulty. It's a little tough to screen share, screen copy in Windows. At least I haven't quite fully figured it out. So I wanted to make sure you had a film using GIMP and putting some titles on a drawing. So what I've done is I'm going to be doing it on my Mac. The commands are the same. But the layout, you might see little differences in the layouts and some of the wording, but it'll be close enough and you can figure it out from there. All right, first thing I want to do is I want to create a new drawing. File, new. I'm going to change from pixels to inches. I'm going to make it 17 inches wide. I'm going to make it 11 inches tall. I'm going to go to advanced options and I want it to have a resolution of 200 by 200 pixels per inch. It's currently set at 300. Yours might be set different. As long as this chain is closed like that and not open like that, if I type 200 into the X, it will automatically adjust it in the Y. You would like to keep that chain closed. One thing to note, it says I have choices, fill with background color. If you look over here, the square in the front is the foreground, the square in the back is the background. That I really don't want. I don't want a black background on this. And I also, at some point, I'm going to want to change these so that the black's in front. Yours might be black on white, but I want white on for the background. So I'm just going to say fill with foreground color, which means I'm going to get that white color. I hit OK. And there it is. The absolute first thing I'm going to do is save it. So I'm going to go File, Save, and it's going to give me an option where I want to save it. And we're going to save it on the desktop. We're going to call it, hang on, the date, 2025. The day, well, yesterday was the 4th. Excuse me, the month, yesterday was February. The day, what it is, class, GIMP study, my last name, and my first name. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and save that. Save. Notice that now it says that name up there. Next, I want to import our drawing. Now, you should have saved your scan onto your desktop. We did that in class through Canvas. File, open as layers. You're going to look on the desktop and look for Scan of Class 2 Demo. I click that, and whatever this says, convert, and what, just put convert. I don't even know what it's doing, but that's okay. What's happened is our scan got brought into our new document, our new file. And if you look over in layers, you'll see I've got background and scan of class 2 demo. So it brought our drawing in as a separate layer. Layers, think of layers like sheets of tracing paper, one on top or the other. If I shut off the background, notice the white disappears. If I shut off, when I say shut off, I'm just turning off the eyeball. Notice that the drawing disappears. One thing I want to do first is, it brought in the drawing nicely, but the drawing's too small. Notice it's not filling the 11 by 17 sheet. So what I want to do is I want to change the size of it. I make sure I'm clicked in to the layer I want to change, which was Scan of Class 2 Demo. I go Tools, Transform Tools, Scale. Notice I get these boxes here. I make sure the chain is clicked, and then I left click and drag those corners, and I start to make it bigger till I get it to a size that I like. And I kind of like that, and I'll show you why in a minute. All right, click Scale. And there it is. Now it's bigger. Now I don't want it this close to the bottom of the sheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Move command, which looks like a cross. If you hover over it, you're going to get the Move tool. Anytime I use one of these commands over here, the little picture, you also usually have them in the menu up here. For example, Tools, Transform Tools. There's Move. It's going to do the same thing as if I click the Move button over here. It's a matter of which one you want to use. So I've clicked the Move button and I get this little arrow. It's a square. You'll see two crosses. You'll see one that looks like the picture, the four arrows on it, and then one is a crosshair. It's the crosshair that we're going to want to focus on. Notice if I go off of the scan of to demo, which is defined by that line around here, it changes to a finger as opposed to a cross. It is important that you use the cross, not the finger. So let's get the finger there. I left click and hold, and I can just drag that drawing right up to where I want it. I can make sure it's centered where I like it in the page. And then we're good with that. So I've moved it. Now let's start to do some labels. In the meantime, it never hurts to go File, Save. All right, first thing I want to do is I want to put a title on it for Site Plan. If I go over here, I can either click on the arrow, the text tool. I could also go up here and go text tool. I'm going to use the picture. When I do that, with any luck, I get this little menu down here, and I get a text tool. What I'm going to do, you notice I've got the crosshairs and a little eye down and to the right of it. Left click and make a box. Doesn't matter how big it is, just make a box. Once I've done that, I click in the box, left click in, and I should be able to start typing. The site plan. But nothing's showing up. Why is that? That is because, if you'll notice, in my case, I've got the lettering being white. I left click on this, click down here, change it to black. Okay, this should work a little better. Let's type in here again. I click in. Now we've got site plan in there, and that's great. But one, it's bigger than I'd like it, and two, it's not located where I like it. Let's take care of the size first. If I triple click in the box, 1, 2, 3, notice that every letter gets a little yellow square around it. That's what I want to be. If I go up here, I then see where it says 150. I can start making it smaller by going down to whatever I want. Why don't I do 110? And you just look at it and see what you like. Yeah, that should work. Once I've got that done, the size looks good, I usually do a couple things. One, I make sure it's justified where I want it to be. What do I mean by that? That means if you look over on this menu, justify it can either be on the left of the box, it can be centered in the box, excuse me, it can be on the right of the box, it can be centered in the box, or it can spread out across the whole box, filled. I never use that. In this case, I want it on the left because I'm going to put the site plan to the left. The next thing I would do, see how I made that box at first and it was kind of big? Um, let's make it a little smaller. And if I hover my mouse in the middle, you'll see I got four corners. If I go down, I can put it to where it turns into one corner by floating over it with the crosshairs. Left click and make the box just about the size of the letters. Great. I'm then going to go and click on another layer just to get rid of all the yellow things and the box around it and all that. Background, notice that went away. Whenever you click in a layer, for example, if I click on this layer, I get these dotted lines. That's the size of the layer and it's the outline of the layer. I find them very distracting. If I click in background, I still get them, but they're all the way at the edge of the drawing and I can get a better visual feel of what the drawing's doing. Let's try and move these letters where I would like them. So let's click into that layer. I go to the move command. And if you'll notice, I've got the finger. Do not use the finger. What you want to do is make sure, put it, see the crosshairs, not the finger, but the crosshairs, the bigger crosshairs need to be actually on the text. If you don't do that, it'll move something else. It won't move the layer you're in. I'm going to demonstrate that in a minute. Let's say I said, okay, I'm going to move the word site plan, but notice now I've got the finger. If I left click and drag, I'm not moving the word site plan, I'm actually moving the background, the scan of class 2, because it wasn't sitting on the text. To get yourself out of this, you can go Control Z or Edit Undo, and it will, either one of those will correct your mistake right on the spot. So let's go ahead and move this text again. I make sure I'm clicked in the right layer. I move my mouse till I get it to change. So the finger's gone and I get the four pointy star thing. I left click and hold, drag it where I'd like it. I like it there. Lift my finger and I'm good. Now I want to put a date on it. The way I do this usually is I just keep duplicating my text. So let's go here. If I right click on the layer and I go duplicate layer, notice I now have site plan, text layer, site plan, and text layer. You can tell it's a text layer by that A in there, site plan number 1. Doesn't look like I have anything, but that's because it duplicated it right over the old layer. And I'll show you what happens if I go to move it, and I'm in site plan number 1. When the finger goes away, I left click and I drag, and I've got 2 words that say site plan. Let's bring this one over to the right. All I'm going to do is change that text. How do I change it? I double click on the A, I triple click in here, and I'm going to put the date. February, what was it? It was the 4th, 04, comma, space 2025. Well, look at this problem. I was typing and nothing was showing up. It was still typing in there, it's just the box is too small to show it all. If I grab the left of the box and I stretch it out, look at that. Now I got a couple things I want to address. One is I want it justified on the right side of the box so I can put it next to the right side of the road. How do I do that? I triple click, 1, 2, 3, get all the letters. I go over here, just write justify. Now it moves over to the right-hand side of the box. 2, I really don't want the February letters to be as big as the site plan letters. So let's go ahead and make them, I don't know, let's see what works for me. How about 75 as a guess? I like 75. As it was the case before, I'm going to make this box smaller. That looks like I want it. I'm just going to click on background to make all the fluff go away. All right, I like the size of it. I don't like the location of it. I would like it lined up with the word site plan. Well, how do I do that? If you go up top, you move your cursor onto the ruler, left click, hold, you'll drag down what's known as a guide. Bring that down, kind of put it right on the bottom of site plan. Well, now I know, and when I release it, it turned blue. Now I know that if I want this to line up with that, I can set it on that blue line. Here's another tip. Over here is my navigation window. If you don't have this window here, go up to Windows, Dockable Dialogues, and click on Navigation. Mine didn't do anything because it was already set up. With this window, I can easily zoom around the drawing. I can use the slider, and notice that I've got a white square and the gray square. If I left click in that square, I can drag it any place I want, zoomed in. And then to get back, I can use the slider again and slide it big or small till it's the postage stamp. To be honest with you, I don't tend to use the slider a lot. I use the plus and minus buttons below. So I'm just going to click it and it go whatever increment it goes in. What does it go? 25, 30, whatever. I like to be able to see all 4 edges of my drawing, but now I want to zoom in on this area so I can set that February 4th right on the line. I'm going to go plus, plus, plus. Excuse me. That looks good. If I left click and drag the square and navigator over there, I can see the line. I can see February 4th. And when I do my move, I'm going to click on the February 4th layer. I'm going to do my move command and notice the finger goes away. So let's just bring that down, set it on the line, and I'm kind of lining up the 5 right below the end of the road. Click on background to get rid of the scroll lines, and I'm going to zoom out to see the whole drawing and see how it looks. Good. I don't like this blue line here anymore. I don't need it. Notice if I hover over it, it changes red. If I'm in the move command, and I tend to do this on the side of the drawing, see it changes red, and then I get the finger, and this is one time you want to use the finger, left click and hold, drag it up, put it back in the ruler, and it's gone. I have 2 more things left to label. Never a bad idea to save. The 2 things I want to label are the scale, and that's 0, 10, 20, and 40 feet, and I want to do the north arrow. Once again, I'm going to go to February, the February 4th. I'm going to duplicate a layer, a text layer, right click, duplicate layer. Again, you can't see anything because it's right on top of the old one. I'm going to make sure I'm in my move command. I'm going to make sure the finger goes away. Finger's gone, left click. I'm going to drag that up here and kind of put it underneath my scale. I'm going to zoom in so I can see what I'm doing. That's pretty good. I don't need the letters to be this big. So I double click here. That puts the box around it. I triple click in the box. And let's try 50. You can just type it in too, by the way. There's 50. How's 50 look? There's 50. And it's probably better to use the little clicker if you can. 50 actually looks pretty good in this, in my case. It might be a different number for you. I want to left justify it. Justify left. I'm going to drag it with my move command. Make sure the finger's gone. Finger's gone. I want to put the F right under where the 0 is going to go. I then triple click. I'm going to double click into here. Triple click. There we go. And I'm going to start by typing 0 feet. I'm going to tap over, if you put a couple spaces in, get it kind of where it looks like it's under the 10. Don't worry, we'll adjust this later. 10 feet, 20 feet, and then I'm going to go 40 feet. I know this isn't under where it needs to be, but I'll show you how you fix that. 40 feet. Okay, I don't like the 10. I want it centered under that, under the where the 10 is. If I double click in there, if I just single click, you see I get a little yellow bar. I can backspace, and there, the 10's right under it. I can do the same thing between the 10 and the 20. Backspace, backspace. Oh, I backspaced in the wrong spot. And I got rid of my foot sign, so let's click over to the right a little bit and backspace. There, now I've got the 10 and the 20. The 40 is too far out, so I backspace. Oh, I went too far, and I got rid of that foot sign again. Let's click over here, and let's just put a space in. That looks pretty good to me. I'm going to click on background to see how it looks. That looks good to me. Now I'm going to take this layer that I just did. I want to do the north arrow. If I go up in Navigator, I can move and center it a little better on the north arrow. There it is. I can right click on this layer. I can go duplicate layer. Now I've got a second version of this. I'll move it using the move command, and I'm clicked into it. Again, get rid of the finger, left click, drag it over here. I'll put that 0 feet right there. Double click into the layer. Now it's sized, it's got the little box around it. Triple click inside it. And then I'm just going to type North. Okay, I'm going to zoom out a little up here because I want to see see how big the box is. I don't want the box that much bigger than the letters. I grab a corner, left click, hold, and make it a little smaller there. I'm going to make it a little smaller there too. That's all I need for the north. I actually want to move this a little. So I'm going to go back into my move command. No finger, left click. I'm going to drag it a little bit away from it. I like that, or at least I think I like that. I click on background to get rid of the lines. I then go up here, let's look at the whole drawing, and I'm just going to zoom out. There, I can see the whole drawing. I like the text for the scale. I like the north arrow. I like that, and I like the date. So let's go File, Save. Now we're done with the actual GIMP drawing. Then the question becomes, what do you do with it from here? Now, if I were to send this file to someone, the GIMP XCF file, unless they had GIMP, they couldn't look at this. And most people don't have GIMP. So I want to export it as a different format. I like you guys using PDF because you can combine them and put them in packages for me, as opposed to JPEG, which is a typical image file, which you cannot combine and put in packages for me. So we're going to go ahead and export this as a PDF. How do we do this? File, Export. You're going to want to select the file. First of all, you're going to want to select a location. We're going to go desktop. You're going to select the file type by extension. So we click on that. And by extension, we want, you're going to scroll down and you're going to want to find, hang on a second. We're looking for PDF, but you're going to say, wait a minute, I don't see PDF. There's PBM, there's Photoshop image. Where'd PDF go? PDF stands for Portable Document Format. If you look over here, you'll see the PDF. That's the format we want to use. Click on that. Click, we're in the desktop. Notice the name of it's just going to be the same name, but it's going to be a PDF file. We're going to hit export, and it's going to give us some questions. Apply layer as pages. Don't check that off. I don't want it. You don't need a multi-layer PDF. Reverse the pages order. No. Apply layer masks before saving. Convert bitmaps to vector graphics where possible. Omit hidden layers and layers with zero opacity. Just keep those checked off. Don't change anything. Just make sure that layers as pages isn't checked. Export. I clicked export and hopefully, and I believe it's exported. Where can I find out? Well, I can go here. I can look on my desktop and see, there it is. There it is as XCF. There it is as PDF. So if I then go and click on the PDF, what comes up is a PDF file with no layers. It's just one page, and you can send that to a printer. You can paste it in a Word document. You can put it on the web. You can do what you want very easily. Let's close that. And I still have my XCF file there. We're going to go back to GIMP. We're going to save it one more time just because you can never save enough. And then I'm just going to go ahead and quit GIMP. And we're all done. That is the end of this lesson. Have a great week, and I'll see you at the next class.